Hello and welcome to the MCQ lecture series. In today's class, we are going to look at some of the important multiple choice questions with respect to economics G3 paper. In this class, we are going to look at the Marxian theory of economic development. So in this lecture, I have incorporated around 17 questions. So if at all it is difficult for you to read the questions per se, what you can do is you can switch to the HD version of the video and then it will be easier for you to read the questions. Anyways, let's get started. The first question is the respects in which Marx contributes to the theory of economic development are what, or the ways in which Marx contributes towards, or the suggestions made by Marx towards the theory of economic development are denoted by which points, and the underlying options are: first option is providing an economic interpretation of history. So Marx provided an economic interpretation of history. The second is Marx specified the motivating forces of capitalistic development. The third is he suggested an alternative path of planned economic development, and option D is all of the above. That means suggesting an alternative path of planned economic development, specifying the motivating forces of capitalistic development, as well as providing an interpretation or economic interpretation of history. So here the correct answer is all of the above. That means Marx provided an economic interpretation of history, which is called as the broad respect of Marxian theory of economic development or Marxian idea of economic development. He also specified the motivating forces of capitalistic development. This point is also called as the narrow respect in which you can look at the Marxian theory. And the last alternative suggestion was the path of economic development or alternative path of economic development. So here option D, all of the above, is the correct answer to this question, which talks about in which respects Marx have contributed towards the theory of economic development. So there are three respects in which he has contributed. I hope the question is clear. Let us now move to the next one. The next question is the materialistic interpretation of history attempts to show that all the historical events are the result of a continuous economic struggle between dash, whether it is between A, class and groups, whether that struggle is between B, institutions and governments, whether it is C, governments and administration, or D, none of the above. So here we are looking at the materialistic interpretation of history, which attempts to show that all the historical events are a result of continuous economic struggle between option A, classes and groups. So here the different classes of that particular society and the different groups. So a continuous struggle between them results into something called as the materialistic interpretation of history per se. So I hope the question is pretty much clear. The materialistic interpretation of history attempts to show that all the historical events which have taken place are a result of continuous economic struggle between the classes and groups. So option A is the correct answer to this particular question. Very important question. Let us now move to the next question. According to Karl Marx, the main cause of struggle is the conflict between dash. The main cause of struggle according to Karl Marx. What can be the main cause of struggle? And the struggle is a conflict between certain groups or individuals. Let us look at what is the conflict, or where is the conflict between, whether it is between A, modes of production and relations of production, whether the struggle, whether the main cause of struggle is conflict between modes of production and governments, whether the main cause of struggle is the conflict between relations of production and governments, or D, none of the above. So here according to Marx, the main cause of struggle is the conflict between option A, modes of production and the relations of production. So option A is the correct answer to this question, which talks about the main cause of struggle according to Karl Marx. I hope the question is clear. Let us now move to the next question. Next question, dash refers to a particular arrangement of production in a society that determines the entire social, political, religious way of living. What refers to a particular arrangement of production in a society which determines the entire social, political, religious way of living? Whether it is A, relations of production, whether it is B, relations of governments, whether it is C, modes of production, or D, none of the above. So here the correct answer is option C. Modes of production refers to a particular arrangement of production in a society that determines the entire socio-political, religious way of living. So here the correct answer is modes of production. I hope the question is clear. Let us now move to the next one. Dash relates to the class struggle of a society uniquely characterized by organization of labor, geographical environment, and technological means and processes. What relates to the class struggle of society? Class struggle of society which is uniquely characterized by organization of labor, geographical environment, and technological means and processes. Whether it is A, modes of production. No, this cannot be the answer, because modes of production refers to a particular arrangement of productions in a society that determines the entire socio-political and religious way of living. So A cannot be the answer. Whether it is B, relations of production, whether it is C, relations of investors, or D, none of the above. So here it is option B, relations of production relates to the class struggle of a society uniquely characterized by the organization of labor, the geographical environment, and technological means and processes. So here option B, relations of production, is the correct answer to this question. I hope the two important causes of struggle wherein there is a conflict, and the conflict between both the means as well as relations of production which leads to struggle per se according to Marx are pretty much clear. That means here we have looked at what does modes of production particularly means, and in this question we have talked about the relations of production per se. Anyways, I hope these questions are clear. Let us now move to the next one. The next one is, according to Karl Marx, every society's class struggle consists of dash and dash classes. Every society's class struggle according to Marx consists of which classes? Consists of which classes? Whether it is A, upper class and lower class, whether it is B, upper class and middle class, whether it is C, propertied class and non-propertied class, and D, none of the above. So here, according to Marx, every society's class struggle consists of dash and dash classes. That means the propertied and non-propertied classes. That means option C is the correct answer to this question. I hope the question is clear. Very important question. Such questions might reflect in your papers. Anyways, let us now move to the next question. The next question suggests that the theory of surplus value suggests that the cause of surplus value is what? The cause of surplus value is what? Whether it is A, raw materials, whether it is B, machines, whether it is C, labor power, or D, none of the above. So here, according to the theory of surplus value, the cause of surplus value is labor power. So here it is option C, which is the correct answer to this particular question. The surplus value is always denoted by small s. In the brackets I have written here. I hope you can see that. So the theory of surplus value suggests that the cause of surplus value is labor power. I hope this question is clear. Let us now move to the next one. The next one is, according to Marx, the difference between cost incurred by a capitalist to produce a commodity and the money he receives after selling it is called as dash, is called as what? So here let us assume, I'll just I'll just use this space here. Okay, so what I'm saying is, according to Marx, the difference between cost incurred by a capitalist to produce a commodity, let us assume that he is incurring m units of money for producing that particular commodity, and the money he receives after selling is called as what? And he is selling that commodity at a price m dash. Okay, so now according to Marx or Karl Marx, the difference between the cost incurred by the capitalist to produce a commodity and the money he receives after selling it is called as what? So we are interested in this difference, which is m dash minus m, this difference. Okay, and obviously m dash is going to be greater than m. That means the cost of production is always going to be less than at the cost which I am selling it at. Okay, so here this difference is talking about what? Whether it is talking about A, surplus labor, whether it is talking about B, surplus value, whether it is talking about C, surplus time, or D, none of the above. So here we are looking specifically at something called as surplus value. That means according to Marx, the difference between the cost incurred by the capitalist, which was denoted by this, and of a commodity, or the cost incurred to produce a commodity, and the price which he or she is going to get after selling it, the difference between the two is called as surplus value, and we have already seen it is denoted by small s. So here small s is talking about surplus value. So the underlying options were surplus labor, surplus value, surplus time, and none of the above. So here the correct answer is option B. Surplus value is the difference between the cost incurred by a capitalist to produce a commodity and the money he receives after selling that particular commodity. I hope this identity will make more sense with respect to this question. Let us now move to the next question. The extra labor that a laborer puts in and for which he receives nothing, Marx calls this as what? So Karl Marx is calling this thing as what? The extra labor that a laborer is putting in and for which he receives nothing. So let us assume, I'll just rub this. Let us assume that the labor, the total time labor is working is 10 hours. Okay. So time required for him or her to cover subsistence wage is 6 hours. Okay, this means that in 6 hours he is going to cover up the entire wage which he or she is going to receive. Now if you take the difference of the two, that means the total hour the labor is working and the hour which is and the time which is required to cover up his subsistence wage, the difference is 4 hours. So for 4 hours, technically according to Karl Marx, the labor is not getting paid anything. This entire 4 hour, the money coming out of this, or the monetary equivalent or value, whatever it is coming out of this 4 hours is going to the capitalist. So he is not getting anything paid for this 4 hours. So what do you call this according to Marx? So the extra labor that the laborer puts in and for which he receives nothing, Karl Marx calls this as A, surplus value, B, surplus labor, C, surplus production, and D, none of the above. So here this extra 4 hour, Karl Marx calls this as surplus labor, okay, which is appropriated entirely by the capitalists, and therefore option B is the correct answer to this question. I hope the example is making it more clearer and it's making more sense to you when you read this question. I hope this is clear. Let us now move to the next question. The next question is, according to Karl Marx, it is dash that leads to capital accumulation. According to Karl Marx, what leads to capital accumulation? Whether it is A, surplus production, whether it is B, surplus investment, whether it is C, surplus labor, or D, none of the above. So here again, according to Karl Marx, it is surplus labor that leads to capital accumulation, and here option C is the correct answer to this particular question. According to Marx, surplus labor leads to capital accumulation. Okay, I hope this is clear. Let us now move to the next one. A capitalist will try to maximize his profits by dash. According to Karl Marx, a capitalist would try to maximize his profits by doing what? A, increasing the working hours of labor. B, increasing the productivity of labor. C, by diminishing the number of hours required to produce subsistence wage. That means here it was 6 hours. I'll have to do something and reduce this to 5 hours. Okay, so this is the third option. The last option is all of the above. So here a capitalist, according to Karl Marx, will try to maximize his profits by doing all these three things. That means he will try and increase the productivity of the labor, he or she will increase the working hours of the laborers, and also try and diminish the number of hours required to produce the subsistence wage. And therefore option D, all of the above, is the correct answer to this question. I hope the question is pretty much clear. To increase productivity, what I'll do is I'll start employing some technology, or probably start giving out more incentives and things like that. Increasing working hours doesn't really make sense. I mean, there's nothing which I have to do, I just have to increase the working hours. Yeah, so I hope these 3 points make sense. So capitalist will try to maximize his profits by doing all these 3 things, and hence all of the above is the correct answer to this question. Let us now move to the 12th question. Dash is the capital invested in stocks or raw materials or equipments which directly assists the productivity of labor. What do you call such a capital invested in stocks, raw materials or equipments which directly assists the productivity of labor? Whether you call it A, variable capital, whether you call it B, constant capital, whether you call it investment, or D, none of the above. So here the correct answer is option B, constant capital. It is denoted by C, in brackets I have written C, okay, and variable capital is denoted by V. So here the correct answer is constant capital. So here constant capital is the capital invested in stocks or raw materials or equipments which directly assists the productivity of labor, and hence option B, constant capital, is the correct answer to this question. I hope the question is clear. Let us now move to the next one. The next one is the capital devoted to the purchase of labor power in the form of wages or direct subsistence is called as dash. The capital devoted for the purchase of labor power, capital devoted for the purchase of labor power in the form of wages or direct subsistence is called as A, variable capital, B, constant capital, C, savings, or D, none of the above. So here we have seen the concept of constant capital in the previous question. It is the capital invested in stocks or raw materials or equipments. So here the capital devoted to the purchase of labor power in the form of wages is called as variable capital, and it is denoted by small v. So here we are looking at variable capital. I hope the concepts related to variable capital and constant capital are pretty much clear. Let us now move to the next one. The next one is, according to Karl Marx, the ratio of constant to variable capital, that means C by V, okay, constant to variable, the ratio is termed as what? This ratio C by V is termed as what? Whether it is termed as inorganic composition of capital, whether it is called as organic composition of capital, whether it is called as rate of exploitation, or D, none of the above. So here according to Marx, the ratio of constant to variable capital, that means C to V, is called as organic composition of capital. That means option B is the correct answer to this question. Please pay attention to this question. Such questions are very important. The ratio of constant to variable C by V is termed as organic composition of capital. I hope this is clear. Let us now move to the next one. The next question is, according to Karl Marx, the ratio of surplus value to variable capital, that means S by V, surplus value to variable capital, is called as what? The ratio of S by V is called as A, organic composition, B, inorganic composition, C, rate of exploitation, D, none of the above. So here first cannot be the answer, because we have seen organic composition is nothing but the ratio of C by V. Here the correct answer is rate of exploitation. Now rate of exploitation is given by the ratio of S divided by V. So here the correct answer is option C, is talking about the ratio of surplus value to variable capital. Okay, so here rate of exploitation is the ratio of surplus value to variable capital, and therefore option C is the correct answer to this question. I hope the question is pretty much clear. Let us now move to the next question. According to Karl Marx, the economic crisis appears in the form of what? Economic crisis appears in the form of what, according to Karl Marx? Whether it appears in the form of overproduction of commodities, whether it appears in the form of difficulties in finding markets, whether it appears in the form of falling prices, whether it appears in the form of all of these three things, that means overproduction of commodities, difficulties in finding markets, as well as fall in prices. So here, according to Marx, the economic crisis appears in all these three forms. That means option D is correct. That means there is a fall in price, there is acute difficulty in finding markets, as well as there is existence of overproduction of commodities per se. So I hope the question is clear. That is, according to Marx, economic crisis appears in the form of overproduction of commodities, difficulties in finding markets, as well as fall in prices, and therefore option D, all of the above, is the correct answer to this question. Let us now move to the last question in this segment associated with the Karl Marx's theory of economic development, which talks about, here we are looking at the criticism of the Marxian model, and the question is framed in this fashion: the criticism of Marxian model, or the points of criticism of Marxian model are dash, and the underlying options are: A, surplus value is unrealistic; B, Marx couldn't understand the flexibility of capitalism; C, static analysis is there, the Marxian analysis is static according to certain economists; and D, all of the above. So here, which points talk about the criticism of Marxian theory of economic development? All these points relates to the same. That means static analysis, Marx could not understand the aspect of, or the flexibility of capitalism, and also the concept of surplus value is unrealistic, and therefore option D, all of the above, is the correct answer to this particular question. I hope the questions with respect to the Karl Marx's theory of economic development are pretty much clear. In the next class, I'll talk about the Schumpeter's theory of economic development. So please stay tuned for more. Thank you.